taking in foods or supplements that have a high level of antioxidants, right? So I think one of the herbs that's really been pushed and promoted almost in all the health food stores, I see it now, whereas years ago you only really saw a few supplements in the market made of this particular, this is actually a berry, but it's the elderberry. But the elderberry, you could basically use that entire plant. You could use the berry, you could use the flower, you can even use the leaves, because the nutritional benefits or the nutrients in the elderberry are in each part of the plant. But the if I don't know if anybody noticed, but if you are into supplements, you see elderberry tonics everywhere now. I mean, there was one state, I think in the beginning, back in 2019, they couldn't keep the elderberry on the shelves. Like only certain states you could find it, right? But I think it was New York where you couldn't find elderberry because everybody was buying it. Right. So I'd say that New York people, you're very fortunate here because, like I said, everything is here. This morning before I came here, I went to a market that when I was living here and raising my children, I was going to this market. I probably started in the early 80s, and that's the Union Square, 14th Street Farmers Market. So I went there this morning and I got wild burdock fruit. There's a family from upstate New York, and they've been selling that wild burdock root, every season, harvest season, which is now. I think probably as long as I've been going to the market. Now the reason why I got the wild burdock root, I have it in the bag. I'll show it to you, but when it's over, if no one's ever seen wild burdock root, the wild burdock root is important right now because it contains very, very high levels of iron. And iron is a mineral associated with the nourishment of the blood, because it provides the body with an organic source of what they call iron phosphate, which is a plant-based iron, which is an iron that when we ingest it, it has a chemical affinity to our body and it will assimilate and it will be metabolized so that you're having healthy blood that has healthy amount of oxygen in it. And that seems to be what's important now, is quality of blood and oxygen, because what the reports have been over the last almost 2 years is that most people who have become infected with this virus wind up in the end on a ventilator to help them do what? Get oxygen. So it only makes sense that to me as an herbalist, that we do preventive. I mean, we do everything that we can, within the resources and the tools that we have around us, right? To make sure that you're not oxygen deficient, that you're not iron deficient, right? And you can do that easily with just food. I mean, you don't even need to like you can be your own herbalist. You can, as long as you know what plants contain what minerals and other life supporting substances, then you just make sure that that's part of your pantry and you have it all the time, right? Some of us in the audience may remember that we had a grandmother or we had an aunt or a grandfather that was very proficient in herbology. Many of them, they didn't refer to it, maybe back then they didn't use the word herbalist. They would use maybe root woman or bush woman, because I know my people from the Caribbean, my ancestors from the Caribbean, and my grandmother was and her mother was referred to as a bush woman. But, you know, it just meant that they had generational knowledge of the plants and how to use the plants as food. And they understood that your food was your medicine and your medicine was your food. And they actually really practiced that.
What do you use for nail fungus besides tea tree oil? What?
Well, you with the nail, generally with funguses, even though people may apply like a external remedy for that, you have to go inside. You have to go inside. You have to
use Lamisil.
No, I'm saying, no, when I'm saying you have to go inside, I'm saying that the funguses are able to be cured by your proper nutrition. That's what I mean. Yeah, the proper foods and basically getting your bloodstream to really be healthy, to have all the components of the bloodstream being produced. I think it's like every 120 days, your entire bloodstream is rebuilt. So your body, when you're feeding it the right way, your body is producing the right amount of red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, plasma, and then from that, from certain components in your bloodstream, your immune system, and particularly your lymphatic fluid is made. And that is really what cleans up like all of these alien things that don't serve us.
That takes 3 to 6 months for it to be healed.
It just
prayer works too.
It depends.
Robertson, the 700 Club, was praying for me. This one healed.
Right. No, it just depends. It depends on the individual. You know how long healing takes. Yeah, and that's another tool. However, like I said, prayer works, but then you also still have to be on point with the nutrition. You know, the bottom line is, like I said, I heard many speakers today, and I heard a lot of profound information. However, as we know that we are spirits living in these bodies. However, we have to take care of the body in order for our spirits to have the ultimate experience in this reincarnation and in this dimension. Because if your body is deteriorating on you, you're going to have a poor experience in this life. So the common denominator for everything is to take care of the vessel that the spirit is housed in. And the way you do that is you've got to drink, like I said, clean living water. You have to get proper sunlight. You have to ground yourself. You have to take off shoes and, you know, touch the soil. And you have to eat real food. You have to do it. And like I said, it's not difficult in a state like this because you guys have everything here, everything you need. So,
or gardens in the backyard and just walk.
Well, yeah, you could
with the dirt and stuff.
Yeah, because that's what I did today.
Then you get the minerals. I didn't have any infection until I started, working in New York City, and then I got infection.
Right. So as I mentioned today, that farmers market on 14th Street, and that's just one of them because they have them. They have them. Yeah, they have them in different boroughs during. I'm not from New York. I'm from Jersey. Right, during different times of the week. Right. So like I said, okay, so they not only had the burdock there, they have when you go to that. Burdock? How do you spell burdock? That's Burdock. Yeah, burdock root. Yeah. So they have other things at this market too. If you're not a strict vegan and you still are doing like seafood, they have the vendor that brings in the seafood. Some people are not able to deal with the dairy from cow's milk, but then based on whatever your ancestry is, your ancestors maybe dealt with goat and goat milk and goat cheese. They have that vendor there. I think I mentioned the sprouts. They have a vendor there that sells all the wild grains, meaning the quinoa, the spelt. I think they have the amaranths. I don't think he has the wild rice, but he has all those wild grains, and all of this is at 14th Street, Union Square on Saturday. They open at 8, I think 8 a.m. in the morning, and they're there until about probably 6 now because of, the time changing and it getting darker earlier. So what time, what is the time?
I have another 15 minutes.
Oh, okay, so I'll just open up. Does anybody have questions?
Do you have to go to school, to college to be a herbalist?
No, okay, so I
I
learned my traditional herbal teachings from a doctor, well, I won't say he's from an herbalist by the name of Dr. Sabi. Most people know him by Dr. Sabi, but yeah, but he was not a medical doctor, but I did my apprenticeship with him. He's a gentleman. He's now deceased, but he was a gentleman from Honduras that healed himself. I think it was probably in the late 60s. He was diabetic. He was impotent. He was 265 pounds. He wore glasses. He had a stutter. And I think at the point where he became impotent, he decided that he wasn't going to take the insulin anymore, and he was going to do whatever he had to do to heal. So to make a long story short, he basically fasted for about 90 days on herbal tonics, and did a plant-based menu, basically fruits and salad for 90 days. And he lost the weight, of course, changed his blood sugar level. His pancreas was able to heal and regenerate. And so he stopped using the insulin. And from that, and then of course the erectile dysfunction, that also was cured. So from there, he began more of a study in herbology and biochemistry. He started traveling the world. And then I met him in 1981 on the island of St. Croix. And first was a client, and then I took his apprenticeship. And then we came to New York. I'm leaving out a lot. We came to New York in the 1980s, and we opened up an herbal research institute in Brooklyn called the Ogun Herbal Research Institute, and at that time, we were very successful in the Black community with helping people cure themselves of what then was a pandemic in the Black community, and that was diabetes, hypertension, with the young men at that time in the 80s,
HIV.
Yeah, well, that was later. Yeah, that was later. But in the beginning, in the Black community, it was basically diabetes was ravishing the Black community. So we've had success with thousands of people healing from that by just changing their diets, eating according to their genetics, and taking classic herbal tonics. Then in 85, 86, we got our first AIDS client who was also healed. And then we did a lot of lectures and a lot of radio appearances in New York City, explaining to people what acquired immune deficiency syndrome was, and why people were why the immune system was no longer working in people. So that would be like a whole nother lecture explaining, all of that. But then we advertised. We advertised that we were successful in people being healed of AIDS. And then we were arrested and indicted.
Oh, practicing medicine out of license. You
Right,
have to go to
right,
Harvard Medical
right,
School
right.
and
So
then study
that
traditional
was,
Chinese medicine
yeah,
too,
that
combined
was in
complementary and alternative medicine.
so that was like 80, 86, 87, and we went on trial. The trial ended, I believe it was in 88. I was released from the case. Sebi was found, he was found not guilty. So,
Okay.
you know, because the reason why we all walked away from that indictment is because we had clients that came in with medical records showing that they were diagnosed with these various diseases, not only just the AIDS patients. I think it were about 70 people, and these people testified. So in the end, you know, we would have been serving, we would have probably all be just getting out of jail. I think each count carried 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Right. Excuse me? Somebody say something? Yeah. Yeah. So. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So my name is Annette Thomas, like I said earlier, and I just recently finished completing the documentary. I don't know. Yeah, because there's a documentary that was done about the case. Initially, it drew the interest of a late rapper by the name of Nipsey Hussle, right? And then he lost his life, and he was murdered. And then another celebrity, Nick Cannon, picked it up, and he completed it, and it's scheduled to show at the Sundance Festival in January. So a lot of things that a lot of people don't know about it, a lot of facts are going to be able, it'll come out, because it's very, I think he did a very thorough job in terms of, you know, archiving, bring about all the archival material to say who, what, where, and how, and when. Yeah, yeah, so.
What do you do about inflammation in the teeth and gums? What medicine? What
Okay,
herbal?
so when it comes to teeth and gum,
I got a root canal and it's
okay,
all infected.
so when it comes to teeth and gum and oral health, I refer people to a biological dentist. Right, right.
There's one on Long Island.
Yeah.
But I live in Jersey.
So yeah, because that's their specialty. That's their
Thank you.
specialty. You're welcome. Yes. I can't hear you. Yes. Okay, so as an herbalist, when people come to me and they tell me symptoms, the basic common denominator to the body being able to heal itself of these abnormalities and these dysfunctions is two basic things. So we have, as herbalists, what we do is we create herbal tonics, and we put an individual on a dietary regimen, which is generally plant-based, that help the body do two innate things. And Sebi called it intracellular cleansing, meaning taking in herbal substances, food substances that enhance the body's innate ability to clean itself on a cellular level. And what you simultaneously do as the body is doing that is you nourish the body so that you get the body, so like the stem cells proliferating, so that after a period of time, you have a new liver, you have a new pancreas, your body is secreting synovial fluid to your joints. You are also working on a part of the body that most people aren't aware of, and that's something called fascia, which is about 5 layers of a connective tissue that sits underneath your 3 layers of skin. And I tell people to get a visual of what fascia is. You know when you buy chicken and you see that slimy substance, that's fascia on a on an animal, on a chicken, but we have the same thing inside. So what happens is when we eat a certain way, we drink a certain way, when we drink sodas, when we drink alcohol, when we drink coffee, and we don't drink water, the fascia dries up, almost like a sponge. When it doesn't have water on it, it gets hard and brittle, and it's not pliable anymore. The same thing happens in our body. So then the fascia starts to pull on your skeletal muscle, on your muscles in your leg, your what is it, the in your arms, but basically your quads. It starts to pull on everything and pull everything out of alignment, right? And what it also does, because our blood vessels travel through the fascia, and our nerves travel through the fascia, and our lymphatic vessels travel through the fascia. So when it gets dried up, it's almost like how you see certain ethnic groups, the hair gets locked and it gets knotted. It gets like that. So then the nervous impulse isn't flowing through, the blood isn't flowing through, the lymphatic fluid isn't flowing through. So wherever there's the obstruction and the flow is not moving is where the tissue is going to die.
Okay, Annette, so there are a few
most of us
questions.
are walking around, we have a stomach that about maybe half of the stomach has atrophied, meaning it's dead.
Annette, can you hear
Right?
me?
So we're eating all of this stuff. The stomach is half dead on the left side. It's not producing, it's not secreting hydrochloric acid. That tissue is causing bacteria. So you see what I'm saying? So fascia is something that we also create, we formulate tonics that help to unglue the fascia.
Yeah.
Dissolve away plaque that's throughout the entire body, not just the walls of our blood vessels, but plaque can find its way, like in the whole knee.
Why is that?
The whole knee area, which is why people are getting these knee replacements.
I'm in her room.
Okay? So that's
her,
basically what we do. We clean and nourish simultaneously so that after a period of time, the body has been revitalized. The life force energy has been increased.
Can you hear
the
us?
body can function, and you're able to maintain what they call in biochemistry homeostasis, where you're in a constant, the body's in a constant state of harmony.
Maybe.
Everything is interacting
Let me check.
efficiently.
Hello?
And you're in this state of calm.
Hello, Annette, can you hear us?
Music.
Yeah.
Can anybody hear us in that room?
Yeah, it's all
No.
reversible. And of course, because we're living in a world where
Check
you know,
whether
you
the
could be in
speakers
an
are working.
automobile and you could be in an
Or-
accident and things could get broken. And I'm not saying that you use herbs in that case. I'm saying that an allopathic doctor in a hospital is where you need to be going in order for them to be able to put you back together. And then once they put you back together, then herbs and nutrition has to be used in order for your body to benefit from them resetting your bones.
I have a few questions.
Yeah.
And we've been speaking to you, but you can't hear us for some reason.
Oh, no, I haven't heard you.
But,
Hello, can you hear
so
us?
somebody virtually, a lot
Anita?
of people watching virtually.
Oh, wow.
And,
Hello, Anita, can you hear us?
Yeah, I didn't hear you this time because I heard you in the other class.
Someone was asking about what to do for allergies.
Mhm.
That was one question.
Yeah, okay.
I was asking a few questions. I
Yeah,
don't know why you
yeah.
can't hear.
So the allergies generally, what our clinical experience showed us is that the allergies generally have to do with food substances or things that have been promoted as foods that the body knows it's not.
And how about the immune deficiency?
Okay,
Hello?
I want to know about
how's that corrected?
Yeah.
Okay, so the immune deficiency, what you have to correct in the body is basically blood. You have to go to the blood because the blood is, the components of the blood is what makes up your immune system, what creates your lymphatic fluid. So blood is important. You have to nourish the blood.
I said, no, you have a question. Ralphie for the fascia. Ralphie.
Oh, okay. So, what's her first name? Ida. Yeah. So she was, she lived, what year was that she was alive? Was that in the 40s?
I don't know. I think she liked it on my ankle. I think she was in my yoga center.
Oh, okay. So she was a very brilliant, what you call her, physiotherapist? Yeah, that she discovered doing her research basically on children, that there was a part of the body that was being ignored, and it was the fascia, and that once you sort of reset it and get it moist and supple again through she had a hand-on method, and then she also had tools that she created after a while. So really, she was like the mother of the whole consciousness of the whole fascia awareness.
One question, then after that we have to wrap it up.
Yes.
Just a quick question
Yeah.
regarding drinking water.
Mhm.
What
Okay.
brands of water would you recommend? I drink Evian and Deer Park.
Okay, so in Atlanta, I reside in Atlanta, Georgia, and Atlanta, Georgia has a lot of what they call living water, meaning water coming down off of the mountains, the Appalachian
Yeah,
Mountains. That
mountain
range
water.
runs through Atlanta. So that's living water. That's like the best water. And then we have a lot of land in Atlanta that they're underwater aquifers, which is like an underwater river that people tap in, and there are several companies in Atlanta that sell this water. So I was talking to someone.
What's the name of the brand?
There's this is in Atlanta.
Yeah, but is
Oh,
there a name of the water?
Moon Jug Water is one of the brands in Atlanta. But here, I was talking to someone at the
In New York,
I was talking to someone at the farmer's market about the living water, and they were mentioning that there's they have water running off the Catskill Mountains. That's living water. So I don't know where in the Catskill Mountains to go in order to tap into the water, but there's a source.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. All right.
All
Oh,
Annette,
oh
why don't you
yeah.
tell
So
people
when
how they
I
can get
when
in
I
touch
come
with
to
you?
New York, I don't, I buy the Fiji. Fiji. I drink that. I drink that one. And then when you make your teas, you use a distilled water to make your teas. So I just use the 365 brand from Whole Foods. And that's a whole chemistry lesson about why you use the distilled water. But the distilled water, look up what distilled water is, and it's a process they put the water through in order to basically, right. So it's, right. Oh, okay. So, okay. So, I have an online store, and my site is greenleaf-herbs.com. greenleaf-herbs.com, and greenleaf-herbs.com. And then when you put that in, you'll see a bottle of my iron tonic, which is called Oxyhemo. That's like on the home page. My contact phone number is 424-200-5469. That's 424-200-5469. And my email is, I'll just give you this one, Annette Thomas. That's ANNETTE Thomas, like Thomas English Muffins, THOMAS 230 @iCloud.com. All right. Pardon me? At iCloud.com. I have some cards up here that I'll give everyone once we finish. So thanks everyone for coming, and let's get prepared for this winter month, and get those cupboards full of like all the right foods, because
How about soya beans, chickpeas?
oh no,
that's all
you want to
good.
get the fresh beans, not the canned
I
beans.
don't feel like cooking.
No, not the, huh?
The cards as well.
Pardon me?
The cards.
Oh, yeah, yes, I do. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not gonna tell those people this is going to happen. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to New Life Expo, day 2. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I believe we start at 10